Steve, would you give your name and your current employment?
My name is Stephen G. Kilper, and I'm a Vice President with American Water Management Services.
And briefly, what's your educational background?
I have a bachelor's degree in agricultural engineering.
Before coming to work for AWMS, did you have any military service?
Yes.
And what was that?
Before I left active duty, I was a commissioned officer in the United States Army, and while I was in college, I was an infantryman.
And what type of work did you do in the military? What formation were you part of?
The 87th Army is where I spent most of my active duty time.
Okay, thank you. Now, would you briefly describe AWMS as a business entity?
Yes, we started this business because we're a waste company, and we've been involved in disposing of waste from oil and gas production sites and drilling sites. With the development of the Marcellus and the Utica shales, we saw that there was going to be more and more of a need for proper disposal. So we decided as a company to permit 2 wells, preferably on a property that was used to a lot of truck traffic in the industrial area. And we received 2 permits, one for AWMS #1 well and one for a #2 well. And those permits were received in July of 2013. And we completed both wells in February to March 2013.
So, how many business sites does AWMS own?
This is our only injection site that we operate.
And how many wells are located at that site?
2, #1 and #2.
What's the relative importance of the #1 versus the #2 wells for the business?
The #1 well is a shallower well. It's finished in completed in the Lockport Dolomite. And #2 is a deeper well with a larger injection zone. #2 takes about 95% of the total that we were taking in July and August, and only 5% for #1.
Would you look at the notebook in front of you and look at exhibit #1?
Yes, sir.
And what is exhibit 1?
Exhibit 1 is the permit that was issued by the chief for a #2 well.
And we're only talking here about one well, about one of the 2 wells, the #2. So if I just say the well, will you understand it refers to the #2 well?
Yes, sir.
How much time did the state take between the time you filed an application for this permit and the permit was granted?
It was about 19 months. December 23rd of 2011, we applied, and it was granted in July of 2013.
And was the well drilled and completed in strict compliance with this permit?
Yes.
So would you look at exhibit #2? What is exhibit 2?
Exhibit #2 was an order from the chief allowing us to start injection operations into the well.
And from the time you applied for the first permit until you obtained the second permit, what was sort of the total time involved in the process?
Right around 27 months.
At all times, did AWMS comply with the requirements of this Exhibit 2 order by the chief in the operation of the well?
Yes, sir.
Any complaints by the state that you ever drilled, completed, or operated the well other than in strict compliance with the permits?
None.
When did operation of the #2 well begin?
We started receiving commercial water for disposal in April of 2014. Most of April we were taking loads from select generators of the brine. And So we didn't take in a lot of water in April. We were still finishing up some of the control systems that we were installing, testing all the equipment that we installed. And then really in May and June is when we were under commercial operations, I would say.
It's May or June of 2014.
2014.
And could you look at exhibit number 6?
Yes.
Exhibit 6 comprises of 2 different orders by the chief. What are these orders?
These orders were issued the evening of September 3rd, and they were to suspend all injection operations associated with number 2 well on the site.
And when you received the orders, did AWMS suspend operation of the number 2 wells?
We did. I instructed my superintendent at the site to shut off both wells and lock out the variable speed drives. The next day is when we actually shut them in by closing the valves. And it was both number 1 and number 2 well at the time. And immediately we also called any generators or trucking companies that were scheduled to come in, and we had them divert to other sites.